Mountaineer baseball locker room here with Coach Mazy, talking a little bit about this beautiful facility. So you say this is, how old is this? This is the original?
This is the original locker room, and when I designed this place, like I told you, they handed me a blank sheet of paper and a pen and said, you draw what you want and we'll build it. And I had been in a big league locker room that had this oval shape where everybody could see everybody. And I thought, man, if I ever have a chance to build my own locker room, I'm going to build one of these. And fortunately I did, so here we are.
So what's the features that are special about this? Obviously, each guy has his own personalized locker.
Yeah, I think the biggest feature is that's called our Mountaineer Creed that's written on the bulkhead there. And when we got here 10 years ago, that was the first thing we had to do was change the culture of this place. So we throw the culture in their face right now. And that's what they say every day, that's what they believe in, and that's changed our program more than any of the clothes that they wear, you know. When the fans see the team get together and huddle up before games and after games and see them say something, you don't ever know what they're saying, but this is what our guys say at the beginning and end of every game and practice.
So this is your hub. This is where you meet. Now, do you have a specific meeting room, or is it?
Oh yeah. If you can follow me, I'll show you the rest of it. This is our little team lounge. When I designed a locker room, I wanted to make sure that guys weren't hanging out in the locker room. I wanted guys to get dressed for practice in the locker room, but still have a place to hang out. So we come here, we got 2 video game screens on the wall, and got this TV that's on, and couches and massage chairs and ping pong. And so this room is pretty well occupied. Got 2 computers over there that are hooked up to the camera system on the field. They're always in here watching their videos, pitching and hitting videos, and some of the highlights of the program.
I was going to say, what's the significance of that's Manoa? Who is that?
That's the big guy.
That's Manoa there.
That's Manoa.
And then
this was when we hosted the regional in 2019.
Oh my goodness, that's a great picture.
Yeah, that was a big walk-off win against TCU here when they were ranked in the top 5 in the nation, I think.
Who's the best ping pong player?
I'd probably say I am.
Oh, you are?
I don't ever play with these guys. Runner, who's the best ping pong player on the team?
Probably Stridge or Lyman.
The Stridge was the guy we just saw in the locker room. So.
Hey, he's your best ping pong player.
Yeah, how about it?
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome into episode number 2 of Coach Dell's Dugout Talk, presented by the Pine Room Studios. We are pleased and really excited to have on our show today the head coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers, Coach Randy Mazey. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time in your busy schedule as things crank up here and getting closer to the season to join us.
This is fun for me, man. I enjoy spreading the Mountaineer baseball word around the state, so I'm just happy I could do it.
Well, quite an impressive resume. I'm just gonna read. We would literally take up the entire.
I'm not gonna listen.
Half hour. Just a quick little. Some of the most recent things, just so the folks listening know some of the accomplishments of the Mountaineer program and Coach Mazy and what they've done here. Obviously, last year, 2023 Big 12 co-champs, regular season co-champs, first time in program history. He was named Big 12 Coach of the Year for the second time. He had Big 12 Player of the Year in J.J. Weatherholt. They've made an NCAA tournament appearance in 2017. They hosted a regional in 2019. 4 consecutive Big 12 championship semifinal appearances, 2016 through 19. Overall record of 336 and 250 record here at WVU, which is incredibly impressive. And the list goes on and on. And folks, if you want to read it all, it'll take you a little while to read his entire resume because it's unbelievably impressive. Go on to the Mountaineer baseball webpage and read his bio. It's quite impressive. And I guess my first question to you, Coach, and we've already had our walkthrough, which was really, really neat. Is there anything in your resume, and obviously you're a team guy, I can tell that in our walkthrough. Is there anything that stands out or you're most proud of in your resume?
You know what? When we hosted a regional in 2019, I think that brought a whole community together. I think that brought a lot of people from the state of West Virginia on board with the program. And anytime you can accomplish something like that and make so many people proud of so many kids, nothing of what you just rattled off means anything to me for any personal reasons. It just means so much to me because I think the state of West Virginia has something to be really, really proud of right now in our baseball program. It seems, looking back on it, like it took a long time, 10 years to get where we were, but in the big scheme of things, I guess I'm an impatient person, but that's not that long of a period in 10 years for our program to be where it's at now compared to where it was then. We didn't have a statewide following 10 years ago.
Absolutely not.
When I got here. So I'm just extremely, extremely happy for the people of West Virginia.
That's awesome. So this is your 12th final season, your swan song. I'm sure it's bittersweet in a lot of ways. You go back to, I think it was 1990. You started as a graduate assistant at your alma mater, Clemson University. And here you are, 35 years later.
Jesus. Seriously.
35 years later. What does this season mean? Does this season take on any different meaning to you than any of your others, knowing that this is well, the last time you'll be wearing the Mountaineer uniform on the field?
Yeah, you know, it's weird. So many mixed emotions every day. On Monday was our first day of practice this spring, and when I got home, my wife said, "Do you realize that's your last first day of practice?" So everything I do this spring is probably going to be the last time I do it. So yeah, it takes on real significance and real meaning because this is my last chance to treat the people of West Virginia to a College World Series with me in the dugout. So that would be really cool. Like I said, I know we've accomplished a lot, but if you build a house, you don't want to live in it without a roof on it,
right.
You know? So let's go ahead and, since we're here,
finish it
might
off.
as well finish this thing, right?
Finish it
That'd
off.
be
The first things you said when we came in, you said, "Well, I hope we don't suck my last
Yeah,
year."
I didn't know what kind of listening audience we had out there, but yeah, it would be really cool for us not to suck in my last year.
Yeah, and I want to come back to the Mountaineer program here in a little bit, but one of the things with this this series that we're doing now, and you and I talked about a baseball show. We're trying to promote baseball in our area, the Ohio Valley, as well as throughout the state. Because I don't know about your opinion, but and I would like to hear your opinion, obviously. Do you think baseball takes an unfair backseat to, say, football, basketball, any other major sport because of, as far as exposure, social media? Do you feel like we're like the redheaded stepchild of the sports?
Well, it's interesting you say that. That's a whole different podcast I could get on with you because when my son was born 16 years ago, I was coaching at TCU at the time, and I came up with a very lengthy and detailed proposal about why we should be playing college baseball in the summertime instead of in the wintertime. 40% of our games are in the wintertime. And as you just saw on camera, we were practicing in snow today. And that really, really limits the exposure of college baseball, and that filters down to high school baseball and youth baseball.
Yes.
Because if you look at fan polls in general for professional sports, baseball has as many or more fans than anyone. NFL's first, then Major League Baseball. But the discrepancy between exposure from MLB and college is huge.
Yes.
But NFL and college football runs hand in hand.
Absolutely.
College basketball and NBA runs hand in hand, but we're so different because we play in the wintertime. And could you imagine, just imagine, like we play Ohio State this year at home, in March. It could be like it is
Absolutely.
out there.
Probably will be.
And 3 o'clock on a Friday when people are at work, we might have a couple hundred people in the stands. But if we played Ohio State on July 4th weekend
Oh, my goodness.
in Morgantown, we'd have to be talking about building a bigger stadium.
Yeah.
And college baseball has really, really limited itself by not doing what's best for the sport, because they can't understand that when it comes to a vote, all the northern coaches want to play in the summertime, but the southern coaches realize they have such an advantage, they're never going to vote for it. So you never get anywhere. So some genius is going to have to come along and say, we got to do what's best for the sport, not for your team, for the sport. And maybe when I limp off into the sunset one day, I will rejuvenate my passion for that. I felt like I was a crazy man there for a while, beating my fist on the desk by myself. But I would love to see this sport continue to grow.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's not the same genius that came up with the NIL or the transfer portal. Let's hope it's not those guys sitting behind the door.
Well, you know, the NIL, I think everybody's reaction to both of those things at first was, this is just the ruination of amateur athletics. And that was my first thought, because I'm an old school guy like you are. But if you dig into the weeds, it is what it is. Now, when it comes to NIL, never before have the fans and the community played such a big part in your ability to win championships.
Yeah.
I say this with 100% confidence. I know without the NIL and Country Roads Trust, our collective, that we don't have the Big 12 championship trophy in the room next to us.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. So Country Roads Trust for us has really stepped up and helped our baseball program. And they step up, which means the people of the state have stepped up and helped. So it is what it is. You can love it or hate it, but it helps you win. And so as I sit here on camera right now with you, publicly, I love the NIL. And then when you come in, the first thing you see is all the big leaguers that have come through here. One of Wheeling's finest.
Oh, yeah. He's a good one.
He's a good one. I think we have a program now that people can be proud of, and this is a big part of it. You know, guys making it to the big leagues. I think in the last 10 years we've had 9 Mountaineers in the major leagues, which is pretty good for the old Mountaineers. You know?
It's pretty good for anybody. Very, very, very impressive. I like this. Who is next? So one of these guys, I'm sure, is going to be there. But I remember when Manoah pitched against Means.
Yeah.
I don't know the specific date of that or where. That had to be like really, really.
That was special.
Cool for you.
For the university. I was actually at another player's wedding that day, so I couldn't make it to that game. But my assistant coaches went, and just to see 2 Mountaineers starting in the big leagues against each other, be pretty cool. And Means has thrown a no-hitter in the big leagues.
Yes.
And Manoah finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting. So. Not just big leaguers, but good big leaguers.
Yeah, very good. And how do these guys stay in touch with the program?
They'll be here in 2 weeks. We have our annual leadoff banquet that starts off the season, where we draw a crowd and get the interest going and raise some NIL money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And all the big leaguers are coming back. So
they're all coming in.
Yeah, and we kind of highlight all of our All-Americans and guys that are in the minor leagues. And so we've had a pretty good run. We got here, we took over right here in 2013 when we joined the Big 12. So the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to 13 guys on the wall before us span 100 years.
Wow.
And the 15 guys below that span 10 years. So we've had a pretty good run here of All-Americans and superstars. This
is an incredible testament to your program. But is this the best overall player you've ever coached?
Probably so.
Yeah.
I've coached some really good ones.
Yes, you have.
if he's not the best, you can have a really good argument for him being the best. So, and fortunately, he's still a Mountaineer.
Yeah,
so.
That's quite good news, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now these guys are coming out. They're coming out of the weight room now.
Look at the size of these guys these days.
Incredible.
That's what
I want to talk to you about too.
As soon as I say it, look who walks past. But this is our team theater. We come in here before practice, before every game, and have team meetings. And this is perhaps my favorite part of coaching this team is being in here with them, because we talk about, out there we teach them how to hit curveballs and field backhands and steal second base, but in here we teach them how to be leaders and teach them how to be men and teammates, and we do a lot of things in here that support our culture. And you can see some of them written on the wall, what it takes to be a good team and a bad team. And we have every Tuesday now, we come in here for, I call it a celebration of effort. And every guy will put some sort of effort into one of those 7 qualities into being a good team. And it has to be something that they've never done before. And a guy will raise his hand and say, "Yeah, Coach, I just bought some blackout curtains for my room so I can sleep better." Heck yeah, that's putting effort into something that you haven't done before, that's going to make you a better player, that's going to make us a better team.
Is this something when you got here, you started this, or as you have, gone on in the years of coaching, did you say, you know what, I'm going to instill this, or was this something right away that you brought?
The culture was right away. The creed that you read,
right,
that was right away, because I think prior to getting here, mediocrity was okay with everyone,
mm-hmm.
and that was the first thing you had to convince them that that's not okay. We're representing 1.8 million people in this state that
pretty
look
proud
up to
state.
you guys, and they're proud of the Mountaineers. That's a pretty heavy task to represent that many people. If you want to motivate yourself, do it for someone else. It's a lot easier if you do it for someone else. And if you're doing it for 1.8 million, it becomes pretty easy.
When you bring a kid, a high school kid or a JUCO kid or a recruit, what is your sell? What do you sell your program on?
Pride, number one. That's the first line in the creed, is I'm proud to be a Mountaineer. Yeah. I'm proud to wear the gold and blue, and that's the first thing. There's no other Power 5 school in the country that is the only Power 5 school in their state. So we have no pro teams, so
that's interesting.
So the entire state revolves around the Mountaineers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a real sense of pride when they put that jersey on, that kids are looking up to you, coal miners are looking up to you, everybody from Logan County to Boone County to Wyoming County and all those places, it means a lot to those people. A kid from Austin, Texas has no idea what the backyard brawl is.
Right.
You got to teach them.
Yeah.
Because we're not blessed with having a ton of West Virginia kids on the team. So we have to educate, and we have to bring people in for them to meet that understand how much people look up to them. The last 2 years, I think, everybody who has walked across the field on senior day for us, it's been their first year in the program.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things the transfer portal is taking away, kids' pride in their university. So never before has the culture of a program been so emphasized here. It's because of the transfer portal. So half the team is new every year. So we spend more time on culture now than we ever have. Yeah, and it's a great statement of our program that we have a kid in the program now that's the projected first overall draft pick this summer, who had every opportunity to leave this program, but is still here. So old Mr. Weatherholt has pride in being a Mountaineer, and he wants to be a Mountaineer.
That's awesome.
He wants to stay a Mountaineer, so that speaks volumes of our baseball program.
That's a great story. It needs to be more across the country, across all the platforms, because that's very rare now.
Very rare.
So along with the NIL, we just talked about it. I want to get your opinion on it. The transfer portal. Obviously, a lot of people are calling that the Wild Wild West. You never know who's going to be where come the next season, no matter what sport. What are your thoughts on it, and how has it affected you as far as you guys in your recruiting, like in the portal, and then getting guys out of high school or junior college?
The portal has been really, really good to us, and I say that because most of the guys that we've signed out of the portal, this is pretty unique. Those guys have had better years for us than they've had at their previous schools. And I think a lot of that has to do with the last 30 minutes of video you just collected about the culture and the resources and the program and the things that we do. So it's been really, really good to us. The portal is really, really good for a lot of kids. The way recruiting works is sometimes a kid gets in our program that's a little bit over his head and isn't going to play much and needs to go somewhere where he can play more. So the portal's really, really good for those guys. But just like anything, the people that abuse the system make it look bad. So when people are stealing players off other players' rosters and that type thing, that's where the portal gets a bad name. And the biggest problem to me with the portal is I've always taken more pride in teaching kids how to be adults than teaching them how to be good hitters or good fielders. What is the portal actually teaching them about adulthood? If you don't like the way things are going, just quit and go
Quit your
somewhere
job.
else.
Good. Yeah.
Can't do that.
Can't do it.
You can't walk into a coach and say, hey, if you don't give me more money, I'm out of here. Try that.
Yeah.
When you become employed.
Yeah.
See how that works out for you.
Have you seen a lot of that in baseball? A lot of people, quitting?
Not as much in baseball as the high profile, the football and basketball, but I think that's pretty prevalent in those sports. As soon as one kid sees another kid do it, they're like, well, that was pretty cool. Let me try that. So they'll go into a coach and say, hey, my buddy just left. So-and-so offered me such and such amount of money. If you want me to stay, show me the money. Go Jerry Maguire on my butt, So it's craziness. There are really no parameters. So they let the horse out of the barn before they knew what the field looked like that he was getting ready to run into. And I'm afraid there's no way to stop it right now. So we'll see where it goes. But like I said, I'll be probably sitting in a tree stand at this time next year, not worried about it. This was a huge moment in our program when we became self-sufficient up here. In the weight room, we used to have to travel to the Coliseum and back and forth, and really, really inconvenient. But when we finished this was a difference maker in our program.
And this was finished when? Just this year?
No, this has been 7 or 8 years.
Oh, this has been a long time being here. Okay, so this was not part of this building.
It was. Ironically, this was part of the original building, but here's a backstory. When they built the baseball field where it's at, when I was in the meeting with all the engineers and they do their geotech studies of what you're building on, I learned a lot. I learned that the way they do it is they run a big drill bit into the ground, and the computer tells them if it's clay or rock or gravel or whatever. Well, the drill bit got down to about 47 feet, and it fell about 12 feet.
Oh, wow.
We're standing on top of a abandoned coal mine.
Oh.
And it kept drilling, and it happened again at 90 feet. So we built this stadium over top of 2 abandoned coal mines that crisscross. So they had to fill them with concrete before we could build the stadium.
And how did they do that?
Just pumped her down in there, I guess.
Really?
And that was millions of dollars worth of concrete. So this project got taken out. We had to fundraise to finish this. And one of our former players, it's named after him. He was a big part of making this happen. So.
And do you have a obviously you have a weight program year round, but How does it change from one season to the next, and then when you get into the season?
Changes a lot. You know, the fall is for building strength, and the incoming freshmen come in here in the summer before their freshman year and add 15 or 20 pounds, and we have a dedicated strength coach that just works just with the baseball program. And in the springtime, it's a long season. You know, we play 60-some games, and if you're not careful, guys will lose strength over the course of the season. So having our own weight room. Speak of the devil, there's our strength coach, Kelly Cosgrove.
We already met her. She's the one that let us in and let us up to your
She's
to
amazing
your office.
and designs all these programs. It's specifically designed between pitchers and position players, and catchers have their own one. And, so it's very individualized and tailored to each specific kid.
How much has strength and conditioning changed from back when you started playing at Clemson and coaching to now?
It was just starting to hit the scene as I was leaving college, and that was 1988.
1988.
We're talking 40 years ago, you know. So it's been on the scene, but it's turned more now into science, data, technology. I mean, force plates and numbers and stuff like that has really taken over. It used to be go grab those 10 cinder blocks and throw them over the fence,
right,
you know, but now it's jump on a force plate and we're going to measure everything you do. So the philosophy and the concept is the same, but the execution's way different.
Way different.
Yeah.
And not only here, but on the field also, right? With all the analytics and the numbers. And
I'm speaking at the Ohio High School Coaches Association clinic next week, and they asked me what topic I wanted to speak on. I said I wanted to speak on old school versus new school because there's a huge difference. And the problem is new school doesn't value old school like old school values new school.
yes,
We understand that it has to evolve, but the new wave of coaches, I think old school doesn't work anymore.
Well,
it still works.
it still works.
It still works.
Absolutely still
Yeah,
works.
So don't give up on it, you young whippersnappers.
Yeah,
Just
because
too early.
do you still coach in some respects the old school way?
Yeah, you have to.
Absolutely.
You have to. I mean, these days you could, in the big leagues now, you plug all of your players into a computer and it spits out your lineup, your projected lineup.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You know, you got to have some feel. I mean,
Yeah.
we're losing feel of the game,
Yes.
and that's how we coached, on feel, you know, on sight. You know, I can tell if you're throwing a good pitch or not if the hitter swings and misses at it. I
Right.
don't have to look at a computer.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and my job really these days is to evolve with the technology, use all the resources, but I decide how much of it the players have access to.
Yeah.
Because you can get lost in it.
Oh yeah.
You can go down a rabbit hole you can't get out of. This is my last year, so I'll be interested to watch how it continues to evolve, but I hate the fact that old school isn't valued like it used to be.
Yeah, this is an eye opener for. And I see you got some kind of board here to probably. Is that their workout?
That's
for
their workout that Kelly puts up there every morning for them to follow. And like I said, each guys are different. We have our own little nutrition and snack center that everything you do is by design now. You know, back in the day when I was a player, you knew what you were going to do for practice that day when you got to practice.
Right.
You'd sit down and the coach would say, all right, guys, we're going to, outfielders go over here and hit and infielders do this. But no more, man. If these kids show up to practice today and they don't have a detailed outline of every minute, they just panic.
Really?
Yeah, they just panic. It's just, that's the whole old school versus new school philosophy.
Is that you mapping out the practice schedule and time combined with your young guys that are?
That's what they do.
That's
what they do.
That's them.
Yeah, and they're really, really good at it.
Yeah.
And I've always said, good leaders can recognize the things that they're not good at.
Absolutely.
Because nobody's good at everything.
No.
So I've done a really good job of hiring people that are really good at the stuff that I'm not good at.
So what your nutrition now? It's how big does nutrition play in your overall program? Is that a big part of the?
It's a huge part. It's a huge part, and I'm actually a huge believer in nutrition.
Yeah.
Because mine's not good.
Right.
And I know how that makes me feel. I've been convinced that nutrition is really important, that sleep is really important. The science and data are really important. So we're going to give them every resource possible to become as good as they can be, but we're not going to be just paralyzed by it.
Yeah.
I just told him yesterday in the theater, it was funny, we were talking about it. Before every game now, we're going to put a strip on their tongue to test their electrolyte level. And we have a concoction that they drink if they're dehydrated a little bit to keep them from cramping during the game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, if you go 0 for 4 and strike out 3 times, you're not going to cramp anyhow. Right. So you can drink anything you want. You still have to play baseball.
You still have to play.
Don't forget about playing baseball.
Yeah,
we're getting caught up in all this stuff.
Yeah, right.
And you forget about playing the game.
Exactly.
So that's where I come in.
What's one of the other things that we are trying to promote on this series is trying to get younger players to watch this and listen to guys like you and college players and pro scouts about what they need to do to, if they have the ability to potentially go to the next level. What are the things you're looking for? Obviously, arm strength, speed, power, all those things. What are some of the other intangibles that you look for in a player when you go to scout or you send your guys to go out and watch this player play that say, ooh, that kid could wear our uniform?
You know, as we talked about the old school versus new school, you know, you don't even have to, a lot of programs recruit kids without seeing them play. You get the computer report. If he was throwing 92 and the ball was spinning at 2,800 and he throws 87% strikes when he's ahead in the count and he's 6'4" and weighs this and sleeps this much at night and this is his diet, sure looks like a pretty good player on paper. But you got to go watch him compete, man.
Okay.
Got to go watch him, how he gets on and off the field, how he talks to his coaches, how he reacts to his teammates. Is he go raindrops every time the shortstop makes an error when he's on the mound, or is he mad at the umpire when he doesn't get a call? You know, it's a fine line what separates guys at this level from being good players and bad players, and it is the intangibles. But I don't think coaches kind of have lost their feel for that over time. So when I go watch a kid play, I just want to see a good baseball player.
Yeah.
I don't care how hard you throw. Our best pitcher last year, if he touched 86 miles an hour, man, there was a good strong wind behind him. You know, and both of our top 2 guys pitched at about 84 miles an hour. So just be good baseball players, man. Don't worry about social media and technology so much.
Have you ever gone to scout a player at a certain game, and you go to watch this player, and there's another player that you say, ooh, he wasn't on our radar, but I like him. There's something about him that, man, caught my eye. And then you just send this guy, and then he turns out to be someone that may end up with you.
Yeah, there's no doubt that that's how recruiting goes most of the time. You know, we identify kids we go see, but, you know, when you're watching a game, you're watching 18 players at a time, you know, so we recruit all of them.
Yeah.
Evaluating them is the first part of recruiting them, but every kid we watch all the time, we are recruiting. It's just you got to stand out in one way or another to the coaches. Michael Grove is a perfect example. We didn't know who Michael Grove was until a coach from Hurricane High School called me when Michael pitched against him and said, hey, man, there's a pretty good arm up there in Wheeling. And then Michael went to a tournament over at James Madison and pitched pretty well. And we thought we better get on this guy before it's too late.
Yeah.
So we didn't know who Michael Grove was, and other people found him first.
Yeah.
But when first day I saw him, I kind of knew what we were getting into. So, and he's been a source of pride and joy for this program for a lot of years. So, yeah, you're always identifying players. So find a way to stand out, man. Find a way to stand out that's not on a computer. We have an Iron Mountaineer award that we give out every year to the guy who's in the best physical condition, mental condition on the team. And Grant Hussey was our winner this year.
Yeah, he's back too, right?
He's back. Victor Scott probably be in the big leagues this year. He was a 3-time winner. He was a great player for us.
What organization's he in? Who's he
Cardinals.
With? He's with the Cardinals. Oh, I did see. Okay.
Stole 94 bases this year in the minor leagues.
Okay.
But
now,
yeah,
how was this? How was it? Did you come up with this? Was this your?
This was my baby. And the strength coach. It's a week-long, grueling kind of thing, obstacle courses and physical and mental conditioning, and we've taken it so far. The mental conditioning piece is crossword puzzles, exams.
Oh, really?
Concentration grids.
Oh, wow.
So there's a definite mental aspect to it as well. So
we played against this guy.
Oh yeah.
He was pretty good.
When I built this facility, it's divided. You know, we share this facility with a professional team, so all of their stuff is on that side of the facility, and all of our stuff is on this side. Our side is nicer, but this is the only thing we share, this training room in the middle, but this is our 3.0 club.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that too. I've read so much about your academic standards here and how many awards you guys have gotten with your academics. Obviously plays a big role in the culture also.
You know, it's kind of funny that when we were designing this, they said, how many picture frames do you want? I said, you know, we got 40 guys on the team. How about 28? If you have 28 out of 40, you're doing pretty well. And last year, and this year again, we're going to have, some guys are going to have to split because we have so many guys making a 3.0 or better.
Do you put a lot of emphasis? Obviously you do, but is it just that the kids take a lot of pride in their grades and being on this wall, obviously, and you guys have earned a lot of awards for your academics?
Yeah, you know, I think I spent enough time trying to convince them that their degree is going to last them a lot longer than their ability to steal third base.
Yeah.
You know, so they take pride in it, and I'm not afraid to stick my foot in their rear end if they start slipping a little bit. And I would hope that they're okay with that.
I would imagine down the road they're going to say.
I know their folks are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the other questions I'm going to ask you later is that balance of being a Division I collegiate player, being able to academics, playing, social life, everything else that you get goes into it. I bet it's a heck of a balancing act.
It's so much harder now. Not social life, not near as much now as social media.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the amount of screen time that these kids have these days is it's unbelievable.
It's disturbing.
This is kind of off topic, but when my son Weston was born 16 years ago, a friend of mine got me a book called Last Child in the Woods, and I read the book, and there's actually a medical diagnosis for kids now that's called nature deficit disorder, and that's a real thing, that kids are just spending all their time. They don't know how to spell, they don't know how to write, they don't know how to get outdoors.
Social skills.
Yeah, social skills. And if you ever watched that, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a documentary on social media and how there are experts working at these places that are trained to get into the minds of teenagers and change their behavior. And that's how social media works. And these kids get down so many rabbit holes. You could spend hours and hours and hours.
Well, you go to a restaurant and there's a family of four sitting. All four people are on their phone.
All four of them.
There's no interaction.
None.
It's incredible.
It is, but that's
part
of it.
That's where we are.
That's where
we are.
And this wall here, this is These are all the NCAA tournament teams that they've had here in the history of West Virginia. And here's when we came along. It had been 21 years since the last regional before we went to the first at-large bid, I think, in the history of the program. And when we kind of make fun of it when we did it, said the last time West Virginia made a regional, they didn't even have color photography. We finally got color photography, and now we've gone 3 out of the last 6.
Is you're third among Morgantown Mountaineer coaches in victories? Is Herrick 1 and Ramsburg 2?
I do not know the answer.
You don't know the answer to that?
Nope.
Well, I know you're 3. I know Ramsburg has to be obviously up there, and obviously with Steve Herrick's 5 teams, 6 teams up there, he was in there. So
yeah, for sure.
Great teams there. My goodness.
Yeah, and this we have a training room over here that's all these guys are pretty well taken care of. This is old JJ doing some arm exercises right here, but we got
Hi, JJ.
we
Good,
got
how are you?
saunas and hot tubs and cold tubs and all the latest and greatest equipment to take care of these guys. So
Really nice.
my philosophy was always put the training room outside in the snow and make them hate going there. That'll keep them healthy. All Americans don't get made in the training room.
We're getting ready to wrap it up here. Let's talk real quick about the 24 Mountaineers. What's the outlook? Talk just briefly on your hopes and what you think.
You know, you never know. It's with the transfer portal, the last 2 seasons, we have 40 players on our team. The last 2 seasons, we've had 20 returners and 20 new guys, 2 years in a row. And when that's the case, you really don't know what you're going to get until you start playing in the springtime. But like I said, the portal guys have been really good to us. I like this team. I don't know that we have a 10-game winner on the mound. I think we have several 7 or 8-game winners. So if you have enough of those, you keep adding 7 and 8 together, you'll get to 50 eventually.
Yeah.
So I think we have some depth on the mound. The portal guys are really going to help. And oh, by the way, we have J.J. Wetherall.
And I go back to him just real quick, and I asked you this down in the hallway as I saw his name on the board. Is he arguably the best all-around player you've ever coached?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I've had some first-rounders in the past, pitchers and position players, but I'm trying to find a box that he doesn't check. I mean, he checks them all. He's a great student. He's a smart kid. He's a great teammate. He's super coachable, and he's ultra talented. There's nothing he hasn't done yet. The box he needs to check this year is to be able to play like a 12-year-old in spite of the hype.
Yeah.
If he just plays baseball, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if he gets caught up in the hype, which was social media these days and NIL and expectations, there are a ton of distractions for these kids. If he can have the ability to avoid the distractions and just go play like you did when you were 12, he'll be fine.
What's the chance of getting him on our show like this with a sit down with him?
Well, JJ has an entourage. You're going to have to call his people.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Well, I thought maybe you'd have a little
Fortunately,
influence on
I'm
it.
one of his people.
Oh, man, so maybe since we gave you that Pine Room Lager, maybe that might help.
It's going. I've had that stuff. It's been almost 30 minutes. That's going. Here's something that I personally am as proud of as anything else that we've accomplished here. It's been amazing how many black student athletes we've had since we've been here. This was 2013 was our first year, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 since 2016. And in college baseball these days, talk about rare.
Yeah.
That's rare. We've given a lot of these kids wonderful opportunities, and there are a lot of great players on this wall, and I'm proud that they've worn the gold and blue. So,
is Tevin back? Is he?
Tevin signed pro. He's
Okay,
in the Colorado Rockies organization, but Angels, Pirates, Cardinals.
He came up. He pitched a little last, didn't he?
He was a 4th-round pick of the Pirates this past summer.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of great players, a lot of great kids on this wall, and all of our all-conference guys, same thing. A lot of great players and great kids on that wall.
Gosh, this stuff makes it such a program that builds togetherness and team, and just walking down through here and seeing this is.
Yeah, and here's a cool thing that we do. When they come out of the locker room, we have this map here of the United States, and from Morgantown to Omaha is 987 miles. And I've always figured if you win 40 games, you have a legitimate chance to be in Omaha. So we divided this interstate. This is the interstate that goes from Morgantown. This is how you would drive. And we divided it up into 40 segments. So every time we win a game, I select the player of the game to move the Mountaineer one spot at a time. So as the season unfolds, they walk past this every day, you can kind of see your progress.
Wow.
As a program.
Did you come up with this?
I did, and the big joke one year, we lost about 5 or 6 games out of 7 one year, and the big joke was we got stuck in Toledo, couldn't get out of Toledo. But it's pretty cool because last year at the end of the season,
Oh yeah, you were all the way. Yeah.
And a guy walks past that and sees that and looks at it, and you're like, okay, this is getting real.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just a cool little way to motivate these guys.
So where are you going to put the new guys in town? BYU, Cincinnati,
Good question.
UCF.
We'll find room for them.
That's really. So this was. What is this back? So going around here is.
That's the locker room.
This is the way they come out to go to the field.
Yep. And they come through here every day. Even a state like North Carolina, you know how many Division I schools there are in the state of North Carolina?
There's a few.
19.
Is there 19?
There's 19.
19.
And at West Virginia, there's only 2, and I'd say we have the majority of the fan base.
So when you had this vision and you started drawing it on paper, is this your field of dreams? Is this it?
The only thing that I wanted that I didn't get because of who we are and where we are, I wanted to have a lounge for the fans under the stadium, and I wanted to have them go down a mine shaft.
Oh, wow.
To get to it.
Really?
And just have a little bar down there. But the ground wasn't conducive to it because it's an old strip mine, and they wouldn't. But I thought that'd be really cool.
I would say that would be rather unique. That would be one of a kind in the country. What's the and I was going to ask you this question. What's the worst weather you played on out here in a game?
We would play today.
You'd play today for sure?
I don't know if the camera's picking up the snow and the sleet, but we're practicing this afternoon.
You're practicing this afternoon?
It's supposed to be 34 with 13-mile-an-hour winds. It'll be about like it is right now, and we'll be out here.
How do you handle it?
Because I'm fine.
You good with it?
I'm a deer hunter, man. I'll sit in a tree in this weather all day long.
Okay.
But one of those qualities of a good team that was in the theater was toughness.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play in this weather, you got to practice in this weather.
Yeah, absolutely. How do your guys from Florida and Texas and the warm weather climates adapt?
They're not allowed to use the word COLD in my presence.
Okay.
They substitute the word perfect every time they want to say it. So a lot of times they'll come out here and say, "Coach, it is perfect out there." So that's how I handle it.
Well, Coach, on behalf of all of us at the Pine Room, this has been a really, really awesome experience, and we thank you for taking the time. And we'll be down to see you guys, and go Mountaineers. Let's win another Big 12 and go to Omaha in your last season.
That would be really cool.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Coach.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thank you.